Hi, everyone. I'm Stacy Heisman with GI Jobs, and today I have with me Mr. Don Cole, and he is located in Iowa, and he works for a fabulous company called Transco Railroad Products and uh, Marmon Rail Group. And I hope I have quite the mouthful, so I hope I did it right, Don. How are you, Don? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm doing great. As a matter of fact, we don't have Dom's great handsome face on the camera with me today. His computer doesn't have a camera, so we're just gonna do a voice interview with him, and you'll just get to look at me the entire time, which it can't be too bad. So, all right. Well, thank you for joining us, Don. Let's talk a little bit about your transition, but about how you went from active duty to the civilian world and the job you have. But actually, before we start with that, I want to know about your military service. Tell me a little bit about the branch that you were in, how long you served, and what did you do?
So I was in United States Marine Corps. I went into the Marine Corps right out of high school. I was a aviation mechanic to start with. I transitioned into the flight line, and I was a crew chief on a 53 Echo heavy Marine helicopter stationed out of Tustin, California. I was out there for my active duty service for about roughly 6 years. And then I was in the reserves back home here in Iowa for about 4 years. So served right at 10 years total between active duty and reserves, and then discharged out into the world.
And you landed in a fantastic job. And when I was reading through your interview, you said it was an easy transition for you. Why was it so easy? Tell me a little bit about what you do now.
So I'm currently the plant manager at Transco Railway Products here in Owine, Iowa. We've got about 150 people on property, and we are a third-party rail car repair facility. So what that means is we don't own any of the rail cars. We do business with customers that own large fleets of rail cars, and they send the cars to us for those repairs. And we follow federal regulations to repair the cars, and send them back out into interchange to haul whatever commodities that they've leased to their customers.
So was this an easy transition for you? In your interview, you would look like you mentioned that you kind of did the same thing. What similarities did you have from working on helicopters to rail cars?
Well, again, both fields are extremely regulated by rules, regulations, procedures, steps one through whatever, and we have to do the same thing with the rail cars. So we have procedures that the federal government gives to us that we have to follow before the cars can go back into interchange, and somewhat the same as in the military when you're signing off an aircraft safe for flight. There's certain things that have to happen before that aircraft can leave the ground. There's certain rules and things that have to happen with the rail car before it can leave the shop.
I think that's so interesting because I think it's like planes, trains, and automobiles. I mean, you've worked on one, they can easily transition on working on the other. I think that's fantastic. One of the things that you wrote down in the interview again was some of your biggest challenges when you got out into the civilian world. And one of the things that you mentioned was sense of urgency in the civilian world. Tell me a little bit about what that means to you.
Well, in the military, everything is obviously extremely structured, and everything is done for a reason. So finding yourself in the civilian world with some folks that don't necessarily share the same work ethic, or have been in situations that require the accuracy and sense of urgency to do things quickly and accurately, can definitely be challenging.
You would not be the first person to say that. I've done lots of these interviews, and I will tell you
Yeah.
that is a common theme across almost every interview I do a transitioning vet. So thank you for reaffirming that that is something that veterans are going to struggle with on the outside world. Okay, so tell me what in the military, like what skill sets in the military do you feel best suited you for what you do today? How did the military training skills help you today?
Well, obviously, safety was a huge part of the transition. You know, the military is extremely safe in everything that they do. And again, reason, transitioning into this role, safety is number one. We have again 150 people on property, and it's the number one thing that we strive is to make sure that everybody here goes home to their families the same way that they showed up. You know, we have in the military, we have certifications for non-destructive testing, which you know, we do some of those inspections and tests in some of the same methods and disciplines in the rail world as well. So, you know, some of the language and you know, some of the testing is identical to what was done in the military, and that makes it easy when you've already got some experience with it, or you've had some training to be able to transition into a role where you find something that's familiar.
That makes perfect sense. I actually was wondering, I was going to ask you what NDT stood, what non-destructive testing was, and now I kind of, you just summed it up for me. So thank you very much. I was curious about that. Okay, so why would you recommend your career field or working at the company that you do? Why would you recommend that to other veterans who are currently transitioning?
Well, you know, from my era, I know that sometimes college wasn't necessarily an option for every single person that was coming out of school, and I don't want to downplay that, but there's different people nowadays that take different paths, and we definitely have an opportunity in the rail industry that, you know, a college education is not something that is a necessity. Um, I'm a living proof that, you know, I've never been to college, and some people would ask, you know, geez, how can you get through life without being there? And I would challenge and ask, well, how did you get through life not being a U.S. Marine? And you know, so
Touche on that one, by the way. Touche.
right, you know, so we have so much in-house and in-network training that is available that we do right here in our own facility that gives anybody and everybody an opportunity to go as far and as high as they want to go, and that makes it welcoming for a lot of people on the outside.
Actually, I don't know if I could love any more than what you just said. There's a place for everybody. College is not a necessity. And I think there are some really amazing occupations out there that don't require someone, you know, getting into debt or spending 4 or 5 years struggling to figure out what they want to do with their life. And I love what you said, Don. I think that makes perfect sense. So I want to make sure that you know that that is a theme across the board that transitioning veterans need to hear. So thank you on that one. Um, this last couple of things, what give me some advice. What's some of like a piece of advice that you would give someone about ready to punch out who maybe college isn't the best thing for them, but what 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 would you tell them today about transitioning and looking for a job?
Well, I mean, I would tell everybody to just try it. You know, there's life short. You know, and again, I mean, I'm kind of partial to the rail industry, but because I'm here, the you know the opportunities here and the support that we have within our group is great. And you know, there's so many other things. People think that the rail industry is just, you know, a bunch of steel workers and fabrication, and there are so many different things that we have IT departments, we have billing departments, we have finance departments, there's so many different entities of what we do. If you want to be an inspector, if you you know, if you want to lead people, there's so many different avenues that you can take in the rail industry. And my biggest thing is I would just say, try, take a look at it.
Don, is there a place where folks can be educated along the way? I mean, is it something they have to know ahead of time, or is it something they can jump into and maybe gain the education while employed?
Absolutely. So we would invite people to come in and let us help them get educated in the industry, because we have entry level positions, and from our location alone and pretty much across the board in our network, we have the ability to train in house, and we promote from within. I would guess probably 80% of the time. So there's great opportunity for people to move up and learn.
I love that. Love it all. Well, Dawn, I really appreciate you taking your time to carve out of your day for me. I think that what you said today about, you know, not every path has to go through college to have a successful career. I love the fact that you reaffirmed that the outside world doesn't actually operate like Marines, and that sometimes it's frustrating. And more importantly, I think once you're a Marine, you're always a Marine. So thank you very much, Dawn, for your service and spending your time with me today.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And for GI Jobs, I'm with Dawn Cole, and I'm Stacy Heisman, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you.